Okay, all right. Okay, ungaqala nje.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Thank you for choosing our podcast, Zingisithelawena. Loosely translated, this title says, "They block you from my view." The "they" here referring to distant mountains. It's a Ndebele saying, "Intaba ezikude zingomasithela." In this podcast, we will trace our African heritage, ask the questions who are we, why do we do the things that we do, and how have we come to this point. My name is Talent Ndlovu, your host. With me today is the esteemed author of the book Abethwakazi, which charts the history of and describes the different peoples that make up the Ndebele nation. I am from the southern part of Zimbabwe. I was born and bred in Matebeleland, Esgodini, Emlomoluoto, to be more specific, in the Umzingwane district. I am Lemba. My paternal grandfather came from Berengwa. He died when my dad was 3 years old. That's around 1945. He was an only child and he married outside the Lemba community. My mother is Nkala, but was brought up Komalumake Gonhlamba. This just means that she was brought up by her mother's side of the family and uses their surname Ndlovu sometimes. As a result, some people refer to her as Mandlovu or Mankala. Fun fact, Ndebele women do not change their surnames when they get married. Mr. Mayibongwe Nkala, welcome to our podcast. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you so much. My name is Arnold Mayibongwe Nkala, which automatically means I am your uncle.
Yes.
Yeah. I am a researcher, an author, and a cultural activist. I have written 2 books, namely Abethwakazi, the one that we have just talked about, and the second book is called The Abethwakazi Throne. It's a book in English. It talks about it's a holistic story about the Ndebele throne.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. And then I am a member of many cultural groups, which is where I do my cultural activism.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That's wonderful to know.
Thank you.
Now, I think we can just delve straight into the topic today. How did the Ndebele nation come about, or what is it?
Okay, the Ndebele nation is just like any other nation. It's a nation of different families from different backgrounds, who are from different languages and tribes under King Mzilikazi from the Komalo clan. So for one to be regarded as a Ndebele person, it is through nationality. It's under King Mzilikazi. Of course, the dynasty was destroyed by the colonists, but now we are trying hard to revive the kingship. But the people remained, but the social group remained.
Yes.
Hence, we view ourselves, or we are affiliated to being Ndebele. We are also called Umthwakazi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between Ndebele and Umthwakazi?
It's one and the same thing. You know, in African culture, one does not have one name. You know, you can have your birth name, and then some people can give you a nickname.
Yes.
So a person, yes. So a person does not have one name. It's the same with the nations.
Okay.
Nations do not have a single name. Yeah. So we are called Amandebele. We are called Umthwakazi. We are called Amashabezulu. There are so many names.
Many names.
Yes. So it's so many names. And then there is a language called Isindebele. I think that is where many people get confused.
Yes.
To say, okay, So being Ndebele has got nothing to do with a language. It has got to do with nationality.
Okay.
It has got to do with nationality. Yeah, so there is Ndebele nationality. Then it's Ndebele a language, which is the most common language.
Yes.
I can say it's the lingua franca. Yeah,
yes.
But yeah.
Right. So now, what sort of groups make up the Ndebele nation?
Sorry, can you come again?
What groups make up the Ndebele nation? What peoples?
Oh, like which groups? That's a complex question, but I will try to answer it. Okay, groups can be families, can be in families. We've got many different families, like you said. How many surnames did you talk about? You spoke about Nkala, Ndlovu. Those are some of the surnames. So there are so many surnames, and then there are so many tribes, like tribes. We can talk about Nguni people, Balemba. Also, we can also classify them as tribes. We've got Sutu people. We've got so many people. Got Nambias. So many. Yeah, we are actually a rainbow nation, and then there are also other people who identify themselves from the nations that they come from or where they are. Because Ndebele is a nation made out of people who came from other nations. It's one of the most youngest nations. So there are other people who refer themselves to Amaswazi, like from Eswatini.
Yes.
So people identify themselves in different groups according to how they view themselves. Some where they came from or what's their surname. But generally, or even their language, because there are many languages under the Ndebele, and then because of today's atmosphere or situation, the Ndebele society is now fluid. It's so fluid. Someone can become Ndebele when he or she wants to, or when he or she doesn't want to.
Yes.
So it's so fluid. You can yes. So there are no boundaries.
So we've always
because
been
of the
very
situation.
Complex and diverse nation.
Not really complex long ago, but because of today's geopolitical situation, because now we are now under nationalist nations, so they also identify people according to the way they want to identify. So that has created many complexities. Yeah. But long ago, everything was just simple. But now, because of the situation, especially with language is a very, very important thing in identity. So now, since Amandebele, like they are speaking different languages. Someone sometimes will want to identify himself with the language that he speaks,
and not
and then at times. He can, because the Ndebele is an umbrella. Yes. I think it's like in UK, now I saw Wales and England playing, but we know them as British, so I was so confused.
Yeah.
So it's more like that. Sometimes there is a time when someone feels he or she is now a Briton, or now he or she is now an Irish, or Welsh, or it's more like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation. You can now go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what you brought for us today.
Okay, so you were talking about Balemba,
yes,
which in my language is Abalemba.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. Abalemba or the Lemba people, like generally we can say they are a group that is part of Black Jews, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
In Africa, yes. Because now the group was now scattered, and then there is a certain some of the members of the Jews in Africa they are identified as Balemba, but generally they are Black Jews, which in other words they are Yeah, sorry.
They are found in a lot of nations. I see they are in South Africa under the Lemba, under the Venda, sorry.
Yeah.
And they are also in Zimbabwe. They are in two groups. They are in the Ndebele nation, and they are also in the Shona culture.
Yes,
so how did they find themselves with the Ndebele?
Okay, like since I say that the Ndebele nation is made up of different groups, right?
Yes.
So some of them, they found themselves among Ndebele people, but their history dates as far as Israel, as the history of Israel.
Yes.
As history of Israel. Yes. But those ones who are part of the Ndebele nation, it is because, like as I say, that the Ndebele nation is made up of different groups. So there are certain black Jewish families that were found, especially in those ones who are in Berengwa.
Yes.
That is where they are mostly. That is where they are mostly concentrated. And then Berengwa, during the heydays of the Ndebele Kingdom, it was part of Ndebele Kingdom. Yes. Okay. So the people who were there, they also identify themselves with Ndebele.
Okay.
Yes. So that is how. But their history dates back. We can talk about it as far as Israel and how they got to Africa and how they got to Ndebele, or how they got to Southern Africa and how they became Lemba, because now, like as I said, that they are Jews, but now this group now is called Balemba.
Yes.
So we can, so it's a very broad topic,
As I said, my surname is Ndlovu. And in Ndebele or African, is it just, I don't know, is it just specific to Southern Africa that where we have is them? Or I don't know how we can call it in English.
Okay, we call it praise names.
Oh, okay.
Or praise. There are totems, and then like many people they can't differentiate between a totem and a praise name. A totem is some like I can say maybe an animal or anything that identifies you or that symbolizes you. For example, it can be water.
Yes.
Water can be your totem. Yes. So those are called praises or praise names. Not many. Well, it is most common, especially in Southern Africa. But I do know some social groups. Actually, there are some, for example, you know the Ngoni people, right?
Yes.
Actually, they are called Ngoni people, yes. Because we are so closely related, like as a Ndebele, we are very closely related to them. So I've got many friends from Zambia and Malawi. Yes. And they don't have totems.
Oh, they don't have totems.
And the Ngoni, yes, which I believe maybe is a Malawian thing or is a Zambian thing. Yeah, so some of them we are now now they are trying to test themselves who they are so that they can get their totems. Because we were asking them what's the praise? Sorry, not totems. What's the praise? They don't know their terms or Evangel or is Tagazel. So we are now so now we are now helping them this side to say, oh no, yes. So now we are saying, okay, your family members who didn't go to Zambia, this side their praises is called like this, and then they are using them. So that has made me to understand that there are some other African social groups that don't have praises.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes.
But among the Ndebeles, yes, but
southern tip of Africa.
Mostly, yes, yes. It's mostly so among the Ndebeles, everybody has got a totem, has got a totem and a praise name or praise name. Yes.
So, is the totem for the Lemba, what is it, and is it only one?
Okay, I think you are meaning the praise name. Okay, I'll talk about the totems and the praise. Okay. I'll talk about the praise. Okay, let me just say what is a praise name. A praise name, since we are Bantu people, and Bantu people did not preserve their information through writing, right?
Yes.
They didn't. Yes. So they used oral. Yes. So praise names are more like oral books, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
In some places, yes. So it's more like you be preserving your history through a word. So that's how praise names came about. So it's a way of preserving history and your background. Yes. So obviously, the Lemba that we have among us, obviously they have got praise names. They've got totems.
Yes.
There's only one totem that I know about them. It's I'm gonna say it in English. It's an elephant.
Yes.
Their totem is an elephant. Yes. And then with their praises, the ones that I can remember right now is Ofachi, Ozezela, Omsoni, Omachinkila. yeah. I think some of them are going to come later.
Yes. When you say that, mine is Msoni, but it also is Msoni Machinkila.
Yes. So those are the praises of the Lemba among the Ndebele people.
Yes.
Ofachi, Ozezela, Omachinkila. That's how we Omsoni. That is how we praise them.
Okay.
That is how we praise them. Yes, and then the totem is elephant.
Okay.
Unjovu, which so an elephant is called Unjovu in Ndebele, which is why they also use their surname Njovu. So in other words, they were trying to preserve their totem by naming their surname Njovu or elephant.
Yes.
So it was a way of preserving their totem. Yes.
So that probably explains why some of the Lemba are Jo, because that's a different language. It means the same thing, an elephant, claw.
Yes. If you go to Venda, like you say, they're Venda, they are called Ndo.
Yes.
They're called Ndo. Ndo is an elephant. Jo is an elephant in Shona. Njovu is an elephant in Ndebele. But so in other words, the totem is an elephant. Yes. And there's a reason why it is and then remember, these are Jews, right?
Yes.
But now we find them having a totem.
Yes. And then to clarify further, the Lemba are not part of the Bantu groups.
We can say so. We cannot say so. Like
Bantu mannerisms because they live amongst the Bantu.
Yes. Like so, their origin is Semitic, but due to assimilation and adoption of or being part of a certain nation, they also had to adapt, or they also have to be part and parcel of a nation. So we can. Their origin is not Bantu or African, but I don't think there will be any problem with classifying them as also Bantu through assimilation.
Yes,
maybe through their way of life. Yeah, yes. We cannot. But through their origin, no, they are not. Yeah.
As you are speaking about way of life, they have a very distinct way of life. Can you give us a few examples of the difference between them and the groups around them?
Okay, you mean the Black Jews, or you mean Balemba? Like, okay, the Lemba. Okay, for example, the Lemba, due to the fact that they've been. Remember, I said they go back as far as Israel, meaning that they go back as far as Jacob being their article ancestor, right?
Yes.
So their movement from, we can say, present-day Israel until, let's say, South Africa.
Yes.
So they've been moving around, trying to assimilate. So they've been assimilating cultures, and also retaining their own culture, which is Jewish, right?
Yes.
So because of that, yes. So because of that, yes. So they have got this mixed way of life. For example, they do not eat meat which is cut, which they do not eat meat whose animal which has been not cut by someone who is not part of their social group.
That is
so
like,
for them to
the
eat
present-day Jews in Israel and other parts of the world, they call that kosher.
Yes, kosher. Yes. So so culturally, they only eat meat that has been whose throat has been cut by them only. Yes. So that is something that they retained. So they've managed to maintain that kind of culture. And then when it comes to circumcision, some of them they still practice circumcision, but usually the circumcision happens at later years, unlike the Jews, right?
Yes.
Jews they do it on the 8th day of after birth, but to them they do it in later years, like especially during the early years of youth.
Okay.
Just like yes. So there is a question why some are saying is because they once were part of the Arabs who were in Africa. So like the Arabs, most Arabs were Muslims, right? Or they are Islam, or they are Muslims, and they circumcise. They don't circumcise on the 8th day after birth. They circumcise in later years, right?
Okay.
And then even the Africans like the Bantu people, those who circumcise, they circumcise during the youth. And then another element, there are some who swear by Saidi. I don't know whether you know, since you are saying LM,
yes. I think that's one of the houses. They have 12. There are 12 houses or 12 clans.
Yes. So Saidi. So we were asking ourselves, what is this Saidi? And there is a belief that since they were once, they once were part of the Arabs, Maybe it's because of the fact that maybe they were all maybe from the Middle East or whatever. But there's a time that we believe that they adopted some Arabic or Islam cultures or way of life.
They passed through the Islamic world. Yes,
especially through Kenya. Remember, Kenya there is Zanzibar. There is Zanzibar there, and Zanzibar is the melting pot. That's where the most trade was. That's where there was most trade, and that is where we believe the Lemba could have met the Arabs. Because Arabs were traders, right?
Yes.
And the Lemba and some of them they were, and some of the Black Jews they were also traders. So Zanzibar, or we can say where Swahili was spoken, it was like where there was a lot of economic activities, and through that people had to compromise their languages and cultures so that they can understand each other. So there is Said. So there are some who, like I say, who say by Said, and Said is an Arabic name.
Yes.
You see. So now, yes, Said is an Arabic name, and if you go back to history, we find that there was a time when there are some Arab Mohammedan refugees who fled to the east coast of Africa, and some of them later that certain group was followers of Suleiman, which is Solomon in Jewish, Suleiman and Said.
Yes.
So there was the followers of Suleiman and Said who fled from Oman in 684 AD. And then the second group were the followers of Zaid, who fled from Yemen in 1720. AD. So we believe that somehow they intermixed with those groups.
Yes.
And to a point, which is where we believe that is where they got Said. Yes. So we have got Lemba people who use Said who swear by Said, but we say they are Jews at the same time. You see, and to a point that there are some people who now even think that the Lemba are Arabic or they're Arabs.
Yes.
Yeah, because they have got so many. Even the word Lemba on its own. Okay, we will talk about why they are called Lemba, but it is also associated with Arab.
Okay.
With Arabs, you see. Yeah. So in Southern Africa, we believe that somehow they came with Arabic traders, but so because of that they have got Jewish they have got Jewish way of life, and then they adopted Arabic or Muslim, and then they also adopted Bantu. So I have given you some examples here.
Okay. So why are they called Lemba?
Yeah. Okay, Lemba is a word. It's an African word from Chilemba or Chiremba.
Okay.
Yeah. So it means tepen. Do you see a tepen?
Oh, the
that was being worn. Yes. That was worn by the African Moors or by Arabs. So that is how they came. So it is true that when they came wearing that. So everybody who came wearing that was called. So the people called it Chilemba. I think it's Swahili or some African, but they're called Chilemba. And then it is also believed that they also wore that.
Okay.
In Ndebele we call it Ilembu.
Oh,
so the word Lemba. That is where the word Ilembu comes from. That's why we call a cloth. Yes, that's why we call a cloth Ilembu in Ndebele. It's from Chilemba.
Okay.
And they're also called Lemba. Yes. So it's a name which was usually associated with Arabic or Black Jewish traders, and it is also associated with being a foreigner. So
Okay.
there were mostly people who were traders. So we believe that
makes sense,
yes.
Because it's only the ones that are in Zimbabwe and South Africa that are called Lemba. But the ones that are in Mozambique and Tanzania are called something else.
They are called Basena and Bamwenye. Yes. Very, very true. Yes. So So the name was mostly associated with the
ones that are in Southern Africa, in the Zimbabwe and South Africa.
Yes. That is I believe so. So it shows and Arabs. There was when they were more like a group, something like that. Yes. And to a point that even some historians now, they're even now claiming that Lemba are Arabic, but there has been some DNA that has been done because the issue of being black and Jewish is now very, very, it's one of those hot topics now because of things like Black Lives Matter and stuff. So now people want to express, so now black people now want to express themselves. So there's been some DNA that has been done. And it was found that some Lemba people, they've got Jewish genes, especially from the tribe of Levi. Yeah.
Oh, I see. You're talking about the Habuba clan in South Africa that was tested, whose DNA was tested in 1996.
Yes. So it is because of that confusion whether they are Arabic or are they Jews. But I think even with because we believe that they even intermarried with some Arabs, we believe that. So they must also have Arabic. Yes, but definitely they identify themselves as Jews, and and then their DNA proves that. Yeah. So. And the other thing is the Arab issue was also associated with with Great Zimbabwe, because now there are some people who claim that, or who believe that people who built Great Zimbabwe and most of these stone walls were people of Arabic. So people say, no, it is the Lemba. The Lemba are the ones that we strongly believe that they had a great influence in the building of these stone walls, because Lemba were they were very skillful masons and architects. Because whoever built those stones was a very great mason and an architect.
Yes.
And the Lemba were very good builders, and they were very good blacksmiths. They were very good in metal. As I am going to talk about that as we talk about them being part of the Ndebele people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's interesting because wherever they say they were, because in their oral tradition, I understand they chart their movement from Israel to Yemen and further down to Tanzania, Mozambique, and in all those places, they are smaller versions of Great Zimbabwe or buildings like Great Zimbabwe in all those places that they say they have been.
Yes,
and they call them Sena. All those places have some link to Sena. I think that Sena is the one that's in Yemen.
Yes. So you see, So I'm one of those people. I'm one of the researchers who are highly convinced that those stone walls were built under the influence of the Lemba.
Yeah, okay.
I strongly believe that. Okay. Yes, I'm one of those people who believe that.
So how did they work with the Ndebele group, or how did they come to be integrated, or what was and how was their relationship?
Okay, the first group of Lemba, whom I can say became part of the Ndebele people, or became associated with the Ndebele people, are those that were mostly in Mberengwa, right?
Yes.
So the Ndebele nation was, and they were nomadic people because it was a time of wars and those times.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a time of Mfekani. Yeah, it was a time so they were nomadic people, but they ended up relocating to present-day Zimbabwe, in the western side of Zimbabwe. So the Lemba were already there. There are some Lemba groups or families that had already been assimilated with the local people there. They were even part of the local people in Mberengwa. So those local people
that were in Mberengwa at that time.
And like presently we can say present day Karanga people, or we can say Kalanga people.
Okay.
If I can put it that way.
Yes.
Yes. People who identify themselves today as Bakaranga.
And before we go further, Mfekane means it refers to the wars that were fought.
Yes. I think it's a topic of another day, but generally, Mfekane, it just means it's a time or a period when there were these endless wars that changed the history of Southern Africa. Yes, around early 1800s, up until 1840, 1840, 1850, yes. Okay. So at that time, that is when, they relocated to Zimbabwe in 1838 and 1840. So they found them there. They were already there.
In Berengo.
Yes. So they found them there. The first group, yes, they found them. The others who came later, but the first one, they found them there. And then, like I said, that Mberenga was under the sphere of influence of the Ndebele people. So people who were there, they were identified as Ndebele people. Some of them were even allowed to continue speaking their language. Like as I said, that Abethwakazi is a nation of many languages, right?
Yes.
And it was very good for security reasons, because those people who are now speaking other languages, they could manage to penetrate other neighboring kingdoms or chiefdoms. Okay. And people won't even know that they're even Ndebele people, So that is why So that's why the Ndebele identity is so complex. Some people were Ndebele even if they could not speak Ndebele. because it was more like being a military.
Sorry, under King Umzilikazi and the Ndebele nation, people were allowed to continue with their specific traditions, and they didn't force them to change and do nguni. No. People were not forced, but there were policies that were put that influenced how to the extent how much someone was going to adopt to this new. Yes. So Mberengwa was more of, it was in the boundaries, right? It was in the boundaries. So there were not many people who were speaking Ndebele. Okay.
So local people were not really affected that much when it comes to language and culture. And the Ndebeles, they used that to recruit, I can call them spies, if I can put it that way, to recruit spies who will go even further east, because so people will leave Mberengwa and go further east as if they are traders, but they'll be trying to gather information, and then they'll go and tell them to the Ndebele people. So people from in the east, they'll never even think that these are Ndebele people. So they'll just think, these are people that are under Ndebeles, maybe paying tribute or tax, not knowing that these are Ndebele people. They are just military. They are in the military intelligence. You know, if you're in the intelligence, you don't go around telling people that, hello, I'm a member of the military intelligence. You know. Yes. So today, other people are so confused when you say this certain group is Ndebele. So they get confused because they'll say, but no, these people were like this during that time, you know, because you don't go, because you don't go around telling people about your national security. Yes. But they are everybody. So everyone in Mberengwa today can claim to be Ndebele. Even someone with any surname, if you are in Mberengwa, can claim to be Ndebele. Okay. You know, like as I say that, the Ndebele society is fluid. You can, if you want to get Ndebele, if you don't want to get, it is up to you. Okay. But that place was a place for Ndebele people, and some of the Lemba, because Mberengwa, especially Mwenez there, it was also a place for a place where Keke could go and graze during winter.
Okay.
Yes. We call it Imilaka in Isindebele. Okay. Imilaka. Yes. And then the other thing again, it was realized that the Lemba were very good in metal. So they were given a task to do metal materials like spears. So they contributed a lot in the military. So they were making spears for the Ndebele military.
Okay.
So they will take it. So after that, then they will take it to the capital. Yes, to a point that it even affected the name of that region. You know, Mberengwa, that region in Maswingo. You know, yes. In Ndebele, it is called Enyandeni. In Ndebele, it is called Enyandeni because of the Lembas, or because of the Lemba people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the reference to the spears?
Okay, it's from the word Inyanda. Inyanda is a bunch of anything like a bunch of wood. You know, like a bunch of wood
that you tie together
or
and
a bunch
on
of
your head.
Yes, or it's a bunch of.
You see, I did Teza. I carried.
Yeah.
On my head.
Yes. Wow.
Yes.
Or a bunch of sweet reed, or a bunch of.
To say that.
Yes.
Is it a sweet reed or a type of a sugar cane?
Yes, sweet reed, yes. And then, it's a bunch of spears that are tied together in a knot.
So they used to they will carry these in Inyanda to take them to the king.
Yeah, so they will carry Inyanda. So they were like in a single file, like when they'll be like in a single file. So they will be going. Yes, yeah. So like people say, so that place was known for a place where spears were coming from, and the people will carry them as inyanja. So that's why it was called the Enyandeng, because of the Lemba. So the Lemba were the ones who were making spears and hoes and all those things for metal. And then people there in that region, then people there from the other people in the region, then they will carry those things, then they will take them to the capital. So that's why it was called Enyandeng.
Okay.
You see? Yes. So those were the first groups of the Lemba and their relationship. Yes, and their relationship with the and then later, because of Ulfekan and those wars, there are many Lemba refugees who left the north of South Africa, like as you say, that there are some in Venda.
Yes.
So yes, under Chief Mposi. I think you've heard of him, right?
Chief Mposi.
Yes, Chief Mposi came later. He came later with he came as a refugee. So he knew that he has got some kinsmen on the northern side of Limpopo.
Yes.
So Chief Mposi came later, and then it was even a greater advantage. In other words, the coming of Lemba refugees, it meant that now there are going to be many blacksmiths.
Yes.
You see, so now the production was going to be higher. The production of speed higher because of so that is why they were easily assimilated, or they were easily accommodated to be part of the Ndebele way of life, or Ndebele sphere, Ndebele kingdom, or Ndebele sphere of influences, because they were very resourceful.
Okay.
Yes, especially in the military system.
Yes,
because in many cases, when we speak of the military, when we speak of the Ndebele military, people speak of those people who carry spears, the warriors. But behind the warrior, there is someone who made a spear. There is someone who had the cake that is being eaten. That is now being eaten as beef by that warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the military was so broader. You see, so in other words, what I'm trying to say is that the Lemba were part of the military officers, but they had their own department, the department of making spears.
Yeah, it was a whole industry behind the military, so they made up part of that industry.
So today, like we can say, there are those presently we can identify them as these scientists who are doing atomic bombs.
Okay.
yes. So we can, So Mposi came and yes. So Mposi, So those are the second group of Mposi. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they've So from then. And then after the decline of the Ndebele kingdom, right? So now there was now a new system, which is colonization, which meant that things were now going to change again.
Yes.
You see? So Mberengwa. So now what happened was land was being gradually taken away from black people.
Yes.
Yes. To a point that even Mberengwa was also affected. And then so now there are some who were relocated to Gwanda, around Shanya area there. Okay. So we have got many Lemba people also in Gwanda. Yes, we have got a lot of them in Gwanda.
Okay.
Yes, they also use they also use Jove. Okay. And then the other thing again, the Lemba, like as I said, that they also adopted cultures that of the people they found themselves around. Yes. The Lemba also adopted spirit. I can say African religion. In other words, they are also African spirit mediums who are now Lemba. And they were very, very, according to history, they were very, very, very powerful spirit mediums, or we can say diviners. Okay. They're very, very powerful. And the Lemba are also called Bashabi. You know that as a Lemba, right?
Yes.
Or Bushabi.
Umshabi.
Yes.
Yeah. Abashabi.
Yes, Abashabi. Abashabi, the word Bashabi, it means foreigner. You see? So yes. So there is a spirit. So there is a spirit even among the Ndebele people, even among the Shona people, called Mashabi. You never heard of those spirits, yes, Mashabi? Yes. Yes, a Shabi is a spirit of is a foreign spirit. So let's say I'm in Nkala, right?
Yes.
And then if there is a wandering, so then if there is a wandering spirit, maybe in the wilderness, and then it wants me to be its host. So it's a foreign spirit, right? Yes. But it wants me to be its host. Maybe someone who died in the wars, and then it was not so. And then those burial rights or those rights to return someone back home were not done. So that person wants to, because we Africans, we believe that spirits, they also want, they live in hosts. They can live in trees, they can live in mountains, they can live inside animals or in human beings. So sometimes a spirit can be foreign to you, like meaning that it's not from your bloodline. Okay, so that spirit, it is called.
That one will be wondering. So when somebody dies, are you talking about ukuthethelwa? Ukuthi kumele kuthethelwe so that the spirit finds its way to the right place?
Okay. So what you are saying, now I'm just helping our brothers who can understand our language. Yes. You are saying I am talking about veneration or rituals whereby you take a spirit back home or back to its kinsman, right?
Yes.
That's what you are saying, right?
Yes.
What I am saying, yes. What I'm saying is, yes, in our culture, we believe that a spirit must be returned back home, right? But there are people who, but now remember, there were no mortuaries, right?
Yes.
Long ago, there were no mortuaries. And someone can start to decompose within 24 hours, in an African hot temperature.
Yeah.
So which means that if you die 100 or even 1,000 kilometers away, nobody is going to carry you, right?
Yes.
meaning that your spirit is going to wander in the wilderness.
Okay.
So those spirits sometimes they also want to be accommodated in the homes because they are in the wilderness, right? Yes. So now they can even sometimes penetrate someone from that area or someone who passes that area where they died.
Okay.
So those kind of spirits, yes. So those kind of spirits, they can themselves. Maybe, for example, I go to the wilderness, right? Yes. And then one of the spirits enters me, and then it starts to reveal itself, So now it is now up to So now it is now up to my family whether they accept that, whether they accommodate that spirit or they chase it away.
Is that the
so that spirit in that is that's a shadi because yes. So what I'm trying to say to you is that foreign spirit is called a shadi, meaning that the word shadi means a foreigner because it's a foreign spirit. So shadi is associated with foreigners.
Okay.
So even the Lemba, they are called mashabi because
they are foreign to the land.
They came as foreigners. Yes, they came as foreigners to the land. Yes. They came as foreigners.
When I was growing up, I thought ukuthi amashabi ngamadlozi aloyayo.
Okay, so what you're saying is when you grew up, you thought that mashabi spirits were spirits that, for sorcery, right?
Yes, so witchcraft.
No. The problem with us is that remember when missionaries came, they demonized the African religion.
Okay.
So anything, yes. So that is why now they are now being associated with Satanism and everything like that, which I believe it is not true.
Yes.
You see, which I yes. So now Mashabi. So now that is why even the spirit of the Malemba, they are even called Mashabi. Because so now they are also part of Mashabi because they are spirits of people who came as foreigners. Yes.
Okay.
So yes. So yes, even the dance is called Mashabi. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So these spirits are very powerful. They are very, very powerful, which is why the Lemba people who are spirit mediums, they were regarded as very powerful among the Ndebele society.
Okay.
Spirit. To a point, I can give you examples. For example, I don't know whether you have heard of the story of Chief Gisom Kwanas. Okay. So there is a chief called Gisom Kwanas, who was the chief of a district called Intunda. It was the first chief there was called Dambisama Kwanas.
Okay.
Am I correct? Yeah. I think I'm correct. No, I'm not correct. The first chief, who was the first chief of the Intunda? I forget. Okay, I am going to check. Okay, but there was a time when, yes. But there was a time when it was under Gisom Kwanas.
Yes.
Yes, the Mkwanas is, yes. Now the chieftaincy is called in Ngungumbani. I think you've heard of that chieftaincy in Berengo, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So there was a time when it was under Chief Gisom Kwanas. So Chief Giso had a problem that he could not have a son.
Yes.
So there was that problem. So the solution was to get a Lemba diviner. That was like they said. Okay, if the Lemba diviners can't fail, which means that's it. So they had to look for a Lemba diviner, and then this diviners managed to help Chief Mkwanas to have a son. Okay. So, but now this yes. So this diviner said that because you had a son or an heir to the chieftaincy through my through my ancestors. My ancestors are saying that you must give him a name which is associated with Balemba.
Okay.
So that it will always be history. So he was called Machinkila. So the chief was called Machinkila.
Yes.
So one of the chiefs in Ngungumbane there, he was called Machinkila. Machinkila is one of the praises of the Balemba.
I know, it's one of my praise names, Machinkila.
Yes. Yes. So after Chief Gisom Kwanas, there was Machinkila Mkwanas as the chief because of the Lemba diviner.
Okay.
So yes. And then the other story that I've heard of or that I know is it happened in Mzinyathi in Escotini.
Okay.
Yeah, in Mzinyathi. So in Mzinyathi there was a time when they were under the Kumalo chieftains, right? Now they are under the Kuebo. But there was a time when they were under the Kumalo chieftaincy. Those are the descendants of Chief Mkalipi Kumalo. Yes. So there was a chief called Meva Kumalo, the descendant of Chief Mkalipi.
Okay.
So Meva, so there was a problem in Zinyathi district. There was a lot of witchcraft there, or should I say there was actually I usually call it sorcery because I believe there's a difference between witchcraft and sorcery. Okay. So there was a lot of sorcery there. There were things happening there. There were goblins, if I can put it that way. So now they said, no, guys, the best plan is to look for the Lemba diviners. So
what are these goblins in Ndebele?
Imkoba, Ondofa.
Okay. That's a topic for another podcast.
Yeah, or is Tuhwane. Yes, or is Zinto. So there were these troubling evil spirits or evil forces there. So they said no.
They're not really evil. They just cause a lot of mischief.
Yes, being mischief does being evil, right? Yeah. So now they said no. We have to find people who are going to take this thing out. Yes. So they had to look for Lemba. So they had to look for Lemba diviners. and then the Lemba diviners, they did what we call, how can I put it in English? In Ndebele we call it
translated.
Okay. In Ndebele we call it umshasho. Umshasho, do you know umshasho? Umshasho, it is whereby, do you know umshasho?
No, maybe we use another name.
Yes, okay. Umshasho, it is whereby you call people, right? Or you call suspects. You call suspects, and then you call a diviner, like maybe like a Isanose,
yes.
These diviners or psychics or spirit mediums. Then you call them, and then they will tell you that among these suspects, this is the culprit.
Okay.
So yeah. So long ago, like if there was a court case that involved witchcraft, they used the help of diviners.
Yes.
So they will do umshasho. Okay. I don't know how to put it in English yet. So, or sometimes if there's a problem in the family, right? Maybe someone is mentally ill in the family, and then maybe family members are now accusing each other. So what happens is the family members will go to a diviner, and then the diviner will then tell them, okay, then the diviner will read, and then will say, this is the culprit, or this is this. We'll tell them.
Is that
so that
umoya wona lo?
No, I am talking about umshasho. That
okay.
Umshasho, it is whereby some people or some suspects are being put in a situation, and then a diviner comes, and then a diviner maybe does whatever, or maybe does what we call casting the lots.
Okay.
Like it's called Ugushashula in Ndebele. If it is a Sangoma, if it is a Sangoma diviner, it means that he is going to throw the bones, right?
Yes.
So, but what I'm trying to say is, Umshasho was done in Zinyati.
Okay.
So yes. Now what happened is they called Imbizo. Imbizo is a meeting, like I can say it's a traditional meeting. So people were called by the chief, Chief Meva Kumalo. Yes. To the court. Yes, when they got there, and then they said the Lemba diviners, they must read or they must divine and say what is happening, who is responsible of these goblins, yes. Or what is really happening. Yes. You see, so the Lemba diviners, they did whatever they did, and then they took away those things, and they even said who is the owner, what. Like they divined and revealed and everything like that. But now the issue was not allowed according to the system, because it was during colonization. Okay. So there was this law called Witchcraft. They called Suspension of Witchcraft Act, or Witchcraft Suspension Act of 1898. So the law was put since 1898. Since 1898, it was so witchcraft was viewed as a scam or as a shame. Okay. So if you and it is even today it is still alive. Which is why it is wrong in Zimbabwe to say someone is a witch because of that law. So in other words, the authorities said no. What Chief Meva did was illegal. Because because umshasho is no longer used, it's no longer allowed.
Under
so they had to, yes, at that time, yes. So they said because of that you have, you did an illegal act. So we are now throwing you out of the. So now we are taking you out of the chieftains, or we are now dethroning you.
Okay.
So he was dethroned. Yeah, so he was dethroned, and then they had to put the Kwebu family.
Okay, that's how the Kwebu family came to be.
Yes, but now actually the Kwebu family they were once chiefs before the Kumalo family. So there were issues long ago, during the time of King Zilegazi and King Lopemula, So now they took it away from Kwebu to the Kumalo. You see, so now under the Kumalo, And then when the Kumalos were taken out by the white regime, so they said, no, since this throne was once under the Gwebus, we think the Gwebus must also come back. Okay. So that is how that's how Chief Mtonzima became the chief of Mzingati.
Okay.
So they threw away Meva Komalo, then they brought Mtonzima because of the Lemba diviners. And if you go back to Jews, even today, if you can see most of these Abrahamic religions, they are very prominent, right? Like if you look at Christianity, Judaism, Islam, those are very, very, very prominent. So to me, it doesn't. To me, it's not amazing that the Lemba, as much as they adopted some African religious, yes, they also became prominent. It is because I believe it is in their blood that they are good in divinity, if I can put it that way. Okay. So if you put a Lemba anyway, if you put a Lemba anyway and then adopt that certain kind of religion, it becomes prominent. You see. Okay. So yes. Which is why Christianity is prominent, why Islam is prominent, why Judaism is prominent today. Maybe it's because of the Jewish blood. Maybe it's because of that. And which is also why I believe the Lemba became so prominent among the Ndebele community.
Okay, because of
yes, because I'm Amashabi and because they are Jews, maybe because they are Jews, and Jews are good diviners. Because now the most prominent religions in the world, they are from the Jews, right?
Yes,
like from Jacob, Abraham, there, yes. So that's the other aspect that we see about them, the Lemba, yes. And then another prominent person among them in the Ndebele society, right?
Yes.
One of the prominent people is Akim Jov. Do you know Akim Jov?
Yes, I know him, but I didn't realize he was Lemba.
Yes, he was Lemba. He was from Berenga. Berenga Philippus there. Akim Jov. And his second name, do you know his second name?
No.
His second name was Matthew. That actually should do something to you. He was called Matthew.
That does, because my father's second name is Peter. And one thing that was passed down to us was that you have to have a name that refers you back to Israel. It doesn't matter what your other name is. You have to have one that links you to being Jude.
Yeah. Yes. So Akim's second name was Matthew, and he was also a Jov, and he's a Lemba. He was a Lemba.
Okay.
So he was one of the Zipra commanders. He's one of the people who made the Lemba be known. So many people know Lemba. So he's one of the people who made the Lemba people among the Ndebeles be so prominent again.
Okay.
Yeah. So Akim was So Akim Akim was the Lemba. Yeah. And then with the issue of the elephants, I almost forgot that with the issue that why did they choose
the elephant?
The elephants? Maybe as a Lemba, maybe you can help me on that one.
I don't know. I just think maybe it's the strength. They say it as a power symbol.
From my understanding. From my understanding, it is because of their long nose, because they had those Semitic features.
Okay, and their nose was different from everyone surrounding. It was long and straight.
Yes, and the elephant's nose. Did you see how what do you call that thing? Umbogo. I don't know what you call it. You call it a trumpet in English, yes. So people were saying, these people they have got trumpets like elephants, like these foreigners they've got trumpets like.
So they were saying our noses as big as trumpets.
Yeah. So these foreigners, So they were identified with that long nose. So that long nose was identified with an elephant trumpet.
Okay.
So it it became their identity.
Yes.
That is why. So that's how Zhov came into being, or that's how the elephant became their totem, because they had to find a totem,
yes,
so that they can be part and parcel. So now they had to find,
That's one thing that I find about the Ndebele nation, that it didn't matter everybody that came, because of the umfekaness, like you said, there was people were coming from other places and trying to hide. So whoever was coming there used to sort of like find a totem that sort of like reflects to who they are or who they were, where they came from. And translate it into Ndebele. Yes. Like we would translate it to English. Yes. So, okay. That makes sense.
Yes. You have actually you've actually taken the words out of my mouth. That's exact. And the other thing is, almost every social group has got its strengths and weaknesses. So that is the other reason why people were being assimilated, accepted as refugees, because they knew that each and every person has got something which is a strength and which is going to help the nation grow.
Yes.
You see, so because of people's diversity, it helped the Ndebele state to be also flourish, because someone will be good in this, someone will be good in that. So now the king will now mix all those strengths, and then this powerful nation came out.
Yes,
so there was no one who was.
A dynamic nation is a powerful nation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Nkala. You have we've had a very good discussion, and I now know a lot about my culture. As I said to you, I'm on a journey. We didn't grow up with the Lembas, so I'm trying to figure out my culture and how we came to be, and how we came to be under the Ndebele, because I know others are under the Shona, under the Venda, so that makes a lot of sense to me now.
Yes.
If you can tell our listeners where they can find you or your book or your books. Where can they get your books if they want to buy the books?
Okay. Usually, you can find me through Facebook, because with phones, they change.
Okay. So I'll put the link, the Facebook link in the bio. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Facebook. Yes, Facebook, YouTube, and even Twitter.
Okay.
Yes. But my Twitter account, I don't know whether it was hacked or whatever, but I'm going to work on it. Yeah. Okay. So Facebook, YouTube, So it's Arnold Mayibongwe Nkala, Facebook, Arnold Mayibongwe Nkala, YouTube. I think in that way, they can find me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nkala. I think we are going to be on a very interesting journey, talking about our culture and our history.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much. I think it was a great topic. Yeah. Thank you.
Perhaps next time we can talk about the queens of Southern Africa, or Africa as a whole, or the role of women. And
okay.
Yes.
All right. I think it will also be another interesting topic.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.